Well, that was a game that I kind of want to forget. Not really, though. It was a fun game. But Wild ended up losing 4-3 in overtime to the Pittsburgh Penguins. In a game where every time I think of the Penguins, I always think of them as the St. Louis Cardinals of the NHL. And I think of them for that reason because no matter what they do, no matter how many pieces they lose, no matter what happens in the offseason, they will always find a way to grab some magical bullshit, shove it out of their ass, and just win. It's ridiculous the way they just keep finding ways to win in the dumbest ways possible. And there were some good players on the Penguins. I'll give them credit where credit is due. Specifically, Malkin, who scored the OT winner, Crosby, who set up pretty much every goal, Gensel, who scored one of them, and Raquel, who put in whatever Crosby couldn't score. And that's it. Those are the only guys that really had any impact as far as the Penguins go. Other than that, that whole team looked kind of shell-shocked. And the Wild were putting the works to them. Literally, Casey DeSmith did not look as comfortable as the announcers were giving him credit for. They're saying, what a save by Casey DeSmith, when in reality, it's just a puck bouncing off his shoulder right here and just, oh my God! Oh, and just flailing around the entire net. He looked shell-shocked out there. And he was the winning goaltender? How does that make any sense? But maybe the notes can help us. But we'll see. So, the goalies in this game was Casey DeSmith for the Pittsburgh Penguins, not Tristan Jarry, and Cam Talbot. Both goalies who actually were undrafted. Believe it or not. Look that up. That's actually true. This is the last game we had of a franchise-long 9-game homestand, where we had been 7-1-0 so far. And we have been riding high. Jason Zucker finally gets to come back to Minnesota because he had been traded to Pittsburgh, but there had never been a game that came back that he was in the lineup for. So because he finally came back, he finally gets a reunion. And to add insult to injury, not only is it his first time back, it could be his last time back for a little while because he got injured in this game too. He had to be helped off the ice in the first period, so it wasn't good for Jason Zucker. And at the beginning of this game, Kaprizov was only 1 point away from tying the franchise points record that Marian Gaborik set with 83 points. He was going to get it. We just didn't know if it was going to be in this game or the next game or who knows. But he seemed like he was scoring at a ridiculous pace. He had 13 goals in the month of March alone. So he was just rolling. And before this game started, I felt pretty confident because Minnesota has a record of 25-3 against Eastern Conference opponents. That 5 and the 3 is pretty much against teams like Florida. Florida's the only one I can think of because we've beaten Carolina, we've beaten Washington, we've beaten Boston, we've beaten Toronto. Well, we lost to Toronto once, so there's that. Who else in the Eastern Conference have we lost to? Oh, Columbus, that's an awful loss. Buffalo, that's an even worse loss. We lose to teams that aren't even in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, and Florida. That's it. So, I'm willing to take those odds. I'm willing to be fine with that. And we'd already beaten the Penguins earlier and shell-shocked them in their own building by scoring in the final seconds to win a game in a shootout 5-4 earlier in the season with Nick Bukestad at the helm, which he might have to come back now because of more events that happened in this game. But right off the bat, the first shot of the game goes to the Penguins and it goes in. 18:54 left in the first period. Rickard Rakell came over from the Ducks, signed with the Penguins, and he gets his 18th of the season, assisted by Marino, his 22nd of the season, and Zucker. He gets a point in his debut back. He gets his 8th assist of the season. Basically, this was a shot from the point by Marino, and it got deflected. So there's nothing really Talbot could do. It's just bad puck luck, which is basically what Pittsburgh had all night long. They did not... Crosby, Malkin, Gensel, and Raquel looked good for Pittsburgh. Nobody else looked good. Nobody else. That team looked shell-shocked. Like, completely. I would have thought, hey, Brian Rust, he's kind of scary to deal with. No, Minnesota kind of shut him up. Yeah. It was pretty easy to get rid of Brian Rust in this game. He didn't do much. But at 1750, it honestly seemed like somebody else was going to get their first goal of the season in a Wild uniform because Tyson Jost was everywhere in this game early on. He was hustling to the puck, beating guys like Crosby and Malkin to the puck. He was zooming through the ice. And he got multiple chances. He took some pucks away. Like, he was looking good. I was expecting one to possibly just trickle in because, give him one. He kind of deserves it. He's hustling his ass off. But obviously they don't give him one. So we keep rolling. We keep playing on. And it is worth mentioning, though, that the last time we played Pittsburgh, when we were in Pittsburgh, they didn't have either Malkin or Crosby playing. That was also a completely different team. And this is a completely different team. So different circumstances, but I just find it interesting. Another interesting note, through December 16th, Fiala only had 4 goals. Meaning from the beginning of the season all the way to December 16th, he had only 4 goals. Because he was on that slow pace and was getting kind of, tucked down and like, oh, when's he going to score? Is he actually worth the money? He's definitely worth the money because ever since then, he's had 19. He's had 19 goals since December 16th. He has been good for us. He has definitely been good. And another big theme to this game is that the refs were really calling this one tight. Well, they were for 2 periods. The first 2 periods, they were calling everything for both sides. There would be no types of cross-checking whatsoever. Even normal stuff that's allowed usually in the front of the net. Nope, that puts them in the box. And even some other minor stuff such as like holding penalties, interference penalties, and it affected both teams. At 13-12, Zuccarello got a holding penalty. Pretty easy call for the refs to see. Then at 12:50, Letang gets an interference call. Also an easy one to see. So it's 4-on-4 for 139. And I wrote down here, Crosby is still good, so is Malkin. Because being in the Western Conference, I don't notice these guys. And I often take them for granted. I often take, it's Crosby, he's washed up, he's old, Malkin hasn't done anything. And then you see them on the ice, and you see, oh my goodness, they have not lost a beat. They are scary to play against. They are the reason the Penguins are a playoff team. They are the reason the Penguins are 3rd in the Metro. At least I believe they're still 3rd. They might have jumped up to 2nd with the win tonight. But that is frankly the only reason I see them as a playoff spot. They're not a Stanley Cup champion in my eyes. From that division, it's probably Carolina, maybe the Rangers, but definitely not Pittsburgh. Not at all from this game. So, Wild keep trying to get a puck into the net. It's still 1-0 Pittsburgh. They kind of seem to dominate play when it wasn't 5-on-5 because when Minnesota's 5-on-5, they're the best team in the league, arguably. And then Pittsburgh, of course, knew that, and well, they didn't know it. But they don't let us set up 5-on-5 at all. And the refs are calling so many tight penalties that it makes it kind of hard to set up anything 5-on-5. So the lines get jumbled, everything gets thrown out of disarray, like it usually happens when the Wild don't get a quick start. When they don't get a quick start, it's usually because, okay, we took a penalty, or, well, yeah, it's usually just because we took a penalty. Luckily, we haven't had to face many injuries. Unfortunately, had to face 2 tonight. Both John Merrill got hit with a puck after trying to block it. He went off into the dressing room in the first period. He was gone. And then Matt Boldy left at some point. Because it was actually when the Wild got a too many men penalty that Boldy had left to go to the bench, and Fiala kind of dropped past it to him in front of the Wild bench. Duhaime jumps off, and already you can see the too many men forming. Like, it's a really easy call. But Fiala was expecting Boldy to come up with him, but Boldy was dealing with something. I still don't know where he was. I hope whatever he's dealing with is better, but he just kind of disappeared midway through the second. So we were down 2 men at that point. But luckily, there was a lot of puck luck in this game. Definitely for Pittsburgh, but a little bit for us too. Because Casey DeSmith, being the crazy chicken in net that he was, just flailing around trying to stop anything and everything, ends up causing this mad chaos at 9:08 left in the first period. Basically, the puck is bouncing around. It looked like the first goal that Fleury allowed, where the puck is bouncing around everywhere and he kind of kicks it back in. Only this time the puck is pinballing off of multiple people. There are like 6 or 7 bodies in the crease. Matt Dumba is just slowly trying to pin this sucker in. It's going about 5 miles an hour, slowly, barely inching across. It looked like Chris Letang was able to actually clear the puck out and not let it go in. But upon further review, there is white in between the red and the puck, and therefore we have a goal. And that was pretty huge in my opinion, because if that doesn't go in, then the Wild have tried effortlessly, well, not effortlessly, they have run and gunned and beaten down Casey DeSmith, just trying to get something past him. And if that didn't go in, what else would at this point? So thank goodness that one went in. Dumba got his 7th of the season. It was a power play goal because Dumoulin got a hooking call after Evgeny Malkin just kind of gave the puck away. He left it in the slot for, I think, Tyson Jost to take a shot at, and he just kind of forgot about it. And so Dumoulin has to hook one of our guys and cause a penalty to make sure that shot doesn't get on. And then they score the goal. And Minnesota has 5 power play goals in 4 games. So the power play is working. That's a given. The penalty kill, it's a work. It's a mess, frankly. But it could be worse. It could be like it was during the skid when nothing would go right. Let's hope we can fix it. Let's honestly hope we can fix it. 4:44 left in the first. Jost playing on fire, draws a Rodriguez tripping penalty. More close chances for the Wild, but nothing comes on that power play. Pittsburgh fast, but Moose hits hard. Oh, I look at my notes sometimes. I don't even know what the hell I'm writing. Oh no, I do remember that. That was the Moose hit with 1:46 left, where basically Pittsburgh was flying down the ice. It was Crosby, it was Malkin, it was Gensel. Everybody was kind of flying around. But then Moose just ended up leveling somebody and just kind of stunted them for a second. And the Wild end up ending the first period with a cross-checking penalty by Brandon Duhaime. So it was at that point that I realized, this game is getting called very tightly, because there was different refs. They probably would have let this one slide, but this one gets called by Duhaime. So he's sitting in the box to start the end of the first, the very fast-paced game, but we can keep up with him. Okay, this isn't like David or Goliath. This isn't the top team in the East. It's still a playoff team in the East that is only run by 4 offensemen. They're like the Leafs in disguise, or the St. Louis Cardinals of hockey. That's what they are. St. Louis Cardinals of hockey. I started the show with that. I've stuck with that for as long as I can remember, because it's true. They always show up. When did the Penguins never made it to the party? They always seem to be the one that just somehow sneaks in through the back door, and it's like, oh great, you actually made it here? Jesus. And they don't do anything, or they haven't done anything since 2017. I don't expect them to go on any runs either, because this team ain't looking like a Stanley Cup champion. Frankly, like I said, Carolina is the only one that kind of looks like a Stanley Cup champion. This team does not, especially with the shell-shocked Casey DeSmith. Tristan Jarry, you might have a chance. So, end of the first period, very fast-paced. Shots were 14-9 in favor of Minnesota, but the shots don't really do this game a justice. So, during the break, they were talking about how the salary cap ends up going up $1 million, so that'll help us out a little bit, just a tiny bit, with our cap buyout that'll happen next year. Can't wait for that. And Alex Goligoski re-signed for a 2-year, $2 million annual average AAV, annual average value. I think that's what that means. But yeah, basically 2-year, $4 million contract in total. He has 28 points and a plus 34 in 58 games this season. That plus 34 is 7th in the NHL. Among all NHL players, he is 7th in the NHL. So it's a good signing. It is a good signing. I just hope we still have enough money to re-sign Fiala, because at that point, once we re-sign Fiala, I think we've covered all the bases. I think. Because I'm not sure who else would be our free agents, and I'm willing to let a few of them go. Because we signed a bunch of guys to like 3-year contracts to make sure that this would work. So we'll see. But we really need to sign Fiala. Anyway, getting into the second period. Oh, yeah, second period is when Merrill ended up blocking a shot and going down the tunnel. And then at 18-14, literally right after Duhaime's penalty ended when we started the period with it, he gets another one, a tripping penalty. This one, he was just trying too hard. He dove for the puck, trying to get it away, and he ends up tripping somebody else. And he felt bad for it, too. He had his head down in the box because he knew he kind of screwed up. And you can't keep giving the Pittsburgh power play, which has been one of the best in the league, can't keep giving them opportunities, and they make us pay. Jake Gensel, literally like 8 seconds later, 18:06, he gets his 32nd of the season on the power play, assisted by Letang, his 52nd assist of the season, and Malkin, his 18th of the season. Yeah, pretty much good puck moving around. Shot gets fired right off of Talbot's pad, and just ricochets right over to Gensel. He just fires it home. Because none of these, and what I'm going to say, from maybe the last one you could kind of blame on Talbot. And that last one had me screaming, bro. I had to literally like walk around in my room for a little bit after just seeing that go in, because this team fought way too hard to give up something that dumb to Malkin. Give Malkin credit. He managed to get it in, but it was just ridiculous. You see how red my face is? No, my face is always that red. It's rosacea. It always happens. So it'll always look like I'm blushing on camera, when in reality it's just rosacea. He's leaving the face marks in there anyway. I'm getting off topic, but jeez, I gotta get back to my notes, because again, I try to make these notes very well choreographed, stuff that I can read easily, and oftentimes I write the notes, it's a phrase, and I'm like, what is it? Oh, yeah. And then at 15:06, Fiala makes the drop pass in front of the Wild bench that becomes the too many men. 15:06 left in the second period. That's the too many men, and that is when Boldy left the ice. So hopefully Boldy gets his situation figured out, because I'm not. They never mentioned what was wrong with him. Merrill we saw take a shot in the second period and then dip. So of course that definitely hurt him. Hopefully we get him back. But that also means that Goligoski and probably Bukestad are going to now stop being scratched and we'll play. So I think we'll still be fine. I honestly think we'll still be fine. It sucks to lose guys like that, but it's fine. Honestly, bring Bukestad back in, move Jost up to where Boldy was. There you go. Problem solved. Because Josty's a skill guy. He can work well on that second line with, or third line, I guess. Because it depends on where they put the Grief line. Because you have the Grief line, you have the Kaprizov line, put them on Fiala and Goudreau's line. There you go. Problem solved. So that happens. Too many men on the ice. Like I said, Boldy and Merrill haven't returned. Talbot keeps standing on his head. He's making good saves. He's actually, keeping the Wild in this game. He's making timely saves when he needs to. Now, you could argue, but he lost. There's no way he can make timely saves. He gave this team a chance to win. He gave them a chance to win. Did he blow it in the end? Yeah, he might have. He kind of let it in, but without him, this game wouldn't even been close. Malkin would have just torched us. Or not Malkin, Crosby. Malkin probably would have gotten in on it anyway. But yeah, Talbot was making some big plays here. And at one point, Dumba actually put a pretty big hit on Malkin, and he was slow to get up. Malkin's big, too. Malkin is like 6'4". He's massive. And Dumba ends up leveling him to the ice, and he's slow to get up. He got to get off to the bench. But that's kind of what Dumba does. And I I still haven't found enough reason to hate Matt Dumba yet, unlike a lot of other Wild fans who wanted him gone in the Vegas expansion draft, wanted him gone in the Seattle expansion draft. He still hasn't given me enough reason to hate him yet. And I know people are going to bring up the Columbus incident, or not the Columbus incident, that wasn't him. The Detroit incident, which, yeah, that's fucked. That is definitely fucked. But, I don't know, I still can't find enough reason to hate him. Because he still makes big plays like that. He gets energy back into the building. That is what Wild fans don't understand. He gets energy back into the building. And then a very close chance for the Minnesota Wild at one end with 10:55 left to go in the second. Goes right back down to the other end. Becomes a 2-on-1 for Crosby and Rakell. And Rakell dishes in on Crosby's feet. So Rakell gets his second of the game, 19th of the season, assisted by Crosby, his 46th of the season at 10-11. And at the same time as this was happening, Zucker went down after a collision with Kevin Fiala. And this one there's no foul play involved in this. This is like the Clayton Keller one. It was just a rough play. They're going into the boards as hard as they can, and one of their legs gives out on them and just bends awkwardly, and it doesn't look good. And that's when Zucker had to be helped off the ice. So it really sucked for Zucker because he still liked Minnesota and he wanted to come back. But hey, at least he got a point in his visit back, and a win. So you have that. I believe that's all for this sheet. Because it was at this point that Minnesota was kind of getting dogged on in the second period. It was looking brutal. They were down 3-1 and nothing really seemed to go right. So at 7:40, I wrote, boys need to get some momentum. Okay, they need to get back into this game. Delorier tried to do that, but then he nearly flew into our bench. So at least you gotta give him credit for trying. No shame in that. But then, 7 minutes left in the second period, another crazy. It's like the craziness factor. Right as soon as it hit the 7-minute mark, it just turned up suddenly. Like right as soon as they got out of the TV timeout, they just booked it. Whatever Everson just says in these moments that just gets these guys going, it literally felt like a cannon shot off. All of a sudden, Pittsburgh was on their heels. They were gassed. After they were controlling the second period for the most part, they looked tired. They looked scared. Like Crosby disappeared. Malkin wasn't making good plays. Gensel was trying, but he wasn't able to get anything going. Rickard Rakell just kind of went silent the rest of the game, frankly. Nothing really worked out for him. And another crazy play happens like the first goal that Minnesota got. Only this one doesn't go in. It hits the post. It hits DeSmith's back. It hits another player. It hits another player. Somehow wraps around to the back of the net. Kaprizov has it. He tries to shoot it. Puck whiffs on his stick. It squirms out over in the corner. They fire another shot on net. Nothing goes in. All of that. And nothing went in. Literally nothing. And I don't know. I mean, I don't get why LaPanta was giving DeSmith so much credit because he looked shell-shocked, like I keep saying. He looked like a chicken out there. He looked afraid. He literally did not know where he was, and he was just kind of trial by fire. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like he was a rookie goaltender that was just getting thrown in there. Which I don't think he's a rookie. I think he's been in this league for a little while, but he literally did not look comfortable at all in this game. Even when his team was leading 3-1, when this was happening, when this barrage suddenly exploded from Minnesota, he was on the verge of tears almost at some point. He was looking lost. And eventually, I wrote down here at 4:35, DeSmith hasn't done shit. Post and puck luck is all. Now, I'll take back a little bit of the credit. He did make a few good saves. But you can't say everything in this game was his. This was not a game where he won it. It's more or less he didn't try to... Well, that's an even worse way to depict it. He tried to lose it, but he couldn't. That's frankly what it was. Because he let rebounds go everywhere. Nothing was able to be gloved down until the third period. Like, he just looked afraid. And the Wild also had a power play while this was happening, because at 6:33, Jeff Carter got a tripping penalty when the Wild had a breakaway opportunity. Jeff Carter to pull somebody down to try and, stop the breakaway. And all on that power play, probably the greatest puck movement Minnesota has seen on the power play at all. This entire season, probably. The puck looked like a laser on the ice, and it was just passes. Pittsburgh guys didn't even know. They had their heads on a swivel, but even the head on a swivel couldn't even catch it. And all the shots would either hit to Smith in spots he wasn't expecting to be hit. Like, he'd be looking this way, and the puck would hit him right here in the shoulder when he was looking this way, and it come this way. Or it'd be like, the reason people hate Matt Dumba, because his shots miss the net. They go above the Smith's head, which I get you're trying to do a ripper from the point, but at some points, a shot on the ice could work. If you keep it on the ice, it could just bounce in. Hell, that's how the Penguins scored their first one. They kept that shot on the ice. What's the difference? In fact, almost all of no. The first and the last one were definitely kept on the ice for the Penguins. And they won. They won this game. But eventually the dam would finally break, because Talbot was making some pretty damn good saves too. And then at 2:26 left in the second period, Minnesota finally breaks through. The grief line was able to finally get one in. Jordan Greenway was able to get one on the back door. It's a beautiful play. Oh, wait. They're challenging it for offside. So we have to wait, and we see, and lo and behold, it's clearly offside. So, of course, that sucks the life out of the building. Just kidding! 10 seconds later, actually. Yeah, pretty much 10 seconds later. Well, 2:12. Goudreau literally gets the puck in the slot. A beautiful feed from Fiala. He fires this one right underneath the Smith's arm, and the building just goes berserk. Whatever momentum the Penguins had, lost. It's gone. This team is now fluttering, okay? They are losing their wings. They are about to fall apart. Or at least that's what I was feeling like. The assist came from Fiala at his 30th of the season, and Boldy his 14th of the season. So he got back on the ice for that goal, and then he disappeared again. Because he wasn't on the bench later in the third period. He was on there for the second, but he disappeared for the third. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And that was Goudreau's 10th of the season, by the way, and one that we really needed, because I never really thought of Goudreau as clutch. That was clutch, though. That was pretty damn good. And then the grief line, of course, continues to make chances. It continues to cause problems for everyone in the league, because that's what they do. That is their job. So eventually the second period ends, and I say the beginning was rough, but the Wild swarmed back. And literally it was like a switch flipped at like 7:40. Right as soon as the TV timeout came back, Wild dominated that period at the end. The Penguins looked gassed, afraid. They were seeing ghosts. And yet they were still up 3-2 because, frankly, puck luck. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's just the way the puck bounces. This is a game that is not entirely luck-based, but it can be luck-based. And tonight, it definitely was in Pittsburgh's favor, because they always seem to have a way to do that. I don't know how. Shots in the second, even though shots were 25-24 in favor of Pittsburgh. So it was a little more of an even period, because both teams had a half a period to just go berserk. Pittsburgh scored twice. Minnesota scored once. So shots are pretty even. And that's when I realized that we actually had a welcome back ceremony for Jason Zucker, because they were showing it, which made me feel even worse with the fact that he got injured. It sucks to see that happen. Obviously sucks to see that happen. And eventually, it says, not sure if Merrill is back, but a good thing Boldy is. And then Boldy left again, so we'll see that. But then, early on in the third period, 18:58 left to go, Kaprizov, he finally ties the franchise record. He has 83 points. He's tied with Marian Gaborik. He has almost broken it. He's tied it. So he's done it. He has made it, and he has 20 more games to go to try and get the record. Try and see how much he can bolster up on it. Assists come from Hartman, his 24th of the season, and Spurgeon, also his 24th of the season. Basically, Hartman banks this puck off of the back of the net, throws it right in front of Kaprizov, who one-times this and just lasers it low and on the ice where DeSmith can't get it, and it's a 3-3 tie, and the building goes nuts. From there on out, it literally just turned into playoff hockey like it had been for this entire homestand. Or it seemed like, aside from the Philadelphia game, because that one was kind of, massacre. Well, not a massacre, but it wasn't close. But like the 3 overtime games, that is what this felt like for the third period. It felt just like that, where it's another one of these playoff-style atmospheres where things get chippy, everything suddenly gets more tense, people are just on the edge of their seats. It's primetime television. That's what it is. Okay? Even though this game wasn't on primetime, it should have been. It was fun. It was entertaining to watch. So it worked out well. I wrote at 6:30 in the third period, Pens are dog-tired, and they were. They were absolutely rolling. As in, rolling in their graves. They were not looking good at all. Malkin was gassed. Crosby was nowhere to be found. Gensel, he kind of got held down on one play. I mean, Brodin did get away with one. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Brodin definitely got away with one. Oh, yeah, right here. 5-11. There's a chance for Jake Gensel to get on a breakaway. Brodin he has his stick out in front of him, trying to reach around him, trying to stop him. Most players do that, and then his left arm kind of creeps in. Gensel falls, but Brodin kind of initiated the contact, and then he lets go immediately. Somehow it's not called. But that also means that plays like that against the Wild won't be called, which is weird, because in the first 2 periods, the refs were calling everything. They were calling this game tight. And then, as soon as it became 3-3, it became kind of likable hockey. That's what it became. Like, it became playoff-style hockey where they just let anything go at this point. It wasn't any penalties in the final few minutes. It's just the way it was. And so it was a playoff atmosphere, very entertaining. Nobody could get anything going in the third. And we head to overtime, where Minnesota, funny stat here, Minnesota under Bruce Boudreau in overtime, 13-23. Under Evison in overtime, 15-4. Oh, 15-5 now. I need to change that because fucking Malkin. Great. And at 3:32, Cam Talbot makes a massive save. A massive save on Brian Rust, who I hadn't noticed the entire game. And then he makes this one great play, drag around backhand, trying to get it. Nope. Talbot kicks out the leg and is able to stop it. So it's a big, big save. But Minnesota just... I couldn't tell if they were tired or just... They never really won a face-off in overtime at all. And when they got the puck, they'd often try and do very convoluted plays, like stuff that was way too overcomplicated, trying to make it look cool, and the puck would head back the other way. One of those plays happened. Malkin ends up rushing towards the net. Puck is behind the net at some point. Malkin wraps it around and just keeps banging away at it until Talbot just tries to hold as hard as he can. Then eventually the puck slips through, and it's 4-3, and I start screaming, and my roommates start telling me to shut the fuck up. And that's what we come to. So, Pens end up winning. It's an honorable effort. We still get a point out of this. And the homestand, we were 7-1-1. That's good. That is a good homestand. Okay? Only one loss in regulation, one loss in overtime, and the rest of them were wins. And we lost to arguably a team will play in the playoffs, which isn't good, but that was before the trade deadline, so I'm not counting that. And we lost to this team who got puck luck. Pretty much. Frankly, I don't think anyone in the East should be scared of Pittsburgh at all. So I don't know if I don't think they're gonna come out. I think I think Washington could beat them if that's a possibility. If Pittsburgh somehow gets to the top of the Metropolitan, I think Washington could beat them in the first round. I call me crazy, but I think that could happen because Pittsburgh is literally a Toronto in disguise. But they have a better goalie, so it kind of balances it out. Toronto is just Toronto with terrible goaltending. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh is Toronto, 4 main guys that are, running the show, and then Tristan Jarry. Because I'm willing to bet if Jarry was in this game, he would have looked less like a chicken, and this game would have been a little less close. So thank you, Casey DeSmith, for giving us a point. Thank you. I appreciate that. Shots finished in this game with Pittsburgh winning 39-31 in the shots department. Our record becomes 41-20-5 with 87 total points. We're still 4 points ahead of St. Louis, and we're still second in the Central. Our next game, we play on the road. Yeah, 9 straight games at home, and now we go on the road. And it's a tough team. A team that is in an even better spot than Pittsburgh is in the standings. We play the leader of their division, the Carolina Hurricanes, on Saturday. So that should be a fun one. We won the game they came to Minnesota in. We won that game here. But now we got to go there. So let's hope we can win it. I got faith. Right? Maybe we'll just throw Fleury in there. Just see. All right. Let's just see what you can do. And we'll hope that Boldy and Merrill are doing good. If not, then it's Goligoski and Bukestad that are back in. Please don't throw Jordy Ben in there. I like him, but I don't like him at the same time because it's like it brings me back to the Red Wing goal that he gave up. Remember that one? I probably don't remember it, honestly. It was the 7-2 Red Wings win, but the first goal for the Red Wings, yikes. Jordy Ben. I was about to say Jordy Brodin. Don't insult my God like that. Jordy Ben literally just biffs it in the Detroit game and gives up the first goal. But I still have faith in this team, and I think we'll be fine. Okay? I think we'll be fine. You can't win every game. So Pittsburgh, you get this one, regrettably, but that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, please subscribe. I'm still going to cover the Wild throughout the rest of the season because this team is still fun to watch, whether they win, lose, overtime draw, or get screwed up because of puck luck. I'll keep watching them. But as always, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.